Hello YouTube! Today we're going to be going back to my channel roots and watching a horror movie. This film, as you probably know by the title of this video, is going to be Cabin in the Woods, the 2012 comedy horror film. This is one of my favorite comedy horror films ever. It does such a great job at blending them together and just making it feel like natural, but also just like out of this world. I love it. The director is Drew Goddard, and he did such an amazing job doing this. From the special effects to the dialogue, everything just fits together so well, so I'm really excited to start watching this again. I'm gonna start doing this thing on my channel when I watch horror movies where I count the things they did wrong, or essentially the rules, the horror movie rules that they broke throughout the film, which is really fun for me, especially with slashers. I know this isn't really a slasher, this is kind of like slasher slash supernatural monster kind of. Slashers and supernatural horror movies and all of like psychological horror movies are very different. So for slasher movies, I'm definitely going to be keeping the rules theme, if that makes sense. And you'll get it, you'll understand it as I explain it further. But basically for slasher films, you know, there's all these horror rules, like you can't have sex, you can't drink, you have to split up or you can't split up, stuff like that. So I'm gonna be counting those, seeing who's going to be dying. I love horror movies that are very self-aware, so this is gonna be really fun, and let's get into it.
You have women's issues.
Please. You of all people.
Oh, come on. It's a jinx.
Them two throughout the entire movie are just going back and forth at each other, and it literally makes the entire thing so much better.
So you want to come over Monday night? I'm going to pick up some power drills, liberate my cabinets. Are you even listening to me?
Also, I'm not sure, but apparently this movie was filmed in 2009 and didn't come out till 2012, in America at least.
I get it.
I love his American accent.
Who gave you these? Who taught you about these?
I learned it from you, okay? I learned it from watching you!
Okay, seriously, Professor Bennett.
I just love their like chemistry, or like their, I don't know, it just feels like nice.
This.
I don't know what that
Borowski,
means,
this is what.
In the backseat screaming out loud.
the token stoner or funny guy. Honestly, the more we're going into this movie, the more I'm so thankful that I started this like counting sequence
People in this town driving a very counterintuitive
with this movie.
Father's van?
Tell me that
What are
is
you,
not
stoned?
the coolest thing ever. The greatest adventure. But like also, I think they sell those as like souvenirs from the movie. And this is when things started to get weird.
empty.
When I tell you guys, the first time I watched this movie, I was so confused. Like I thought one of the people in the van was like in on something like governmental, like we were in a simulation. But technically, it low-key is a simulation in this movie.
Chips in our kids' heads so they won't get lost. Society needs to crumble. We're all just too chicken shit to let it.
He has like some like interesting points that he makes throughout the entire movie, which is like pretty valuable. Right now, everything seems very reminiscent of Texas Chainsaw. Kids in a van, all of the tropes in a van
I'm thinking
together,
this thing doesn't
and they
take
stop at a
credit
gas
cards.
station. And kind of also
think it
the
knows
first
about
Friday the
money.
13th, if you think
I
about
think
it.
it's
I don't think there's gonna be any.
You come here running fighting.
Yo, the way he bounced back.
You know how to work it. We also wanted to get directions.
People
Yeah,
who
we're
choose
looking
back
for,
up.
what's
It's
it called?
literally
Tillerman Road.
like the most
Do you know if it's
disgusting
this way?
thing, and it makes your mouth look,
Takes you up the
it
hill
makes
there.
your mouth look
Dead ends
disgusting,
of the old
and the
Buckley place.
spit coming out
My
brown
cousin
does
bought a
not
house up
help.
there. You go.
That whore.
What'd you say?
I think
Yeah.
we got enough gas.
Get him,
We got enough to
baby.
get you there. Good
Not be
back.
acting like he's my man.
You're concerned.
Actually, this right here looks like Twilight right now. But like when it was closer, when the camera was closer to the car, it looked like Friday the 13th. Bro, this right here was the first sign that I knew we're in a simulation.
Oh my god. but it's
And that
beautiful.
shot right there, like very low to the
I'm a
ground,
spider, and I'm
very
speaking in the Rambler.
The Evil Dead. I love horror movies that know horror movies. Like it like is very clear that they know and understand horror movies. Because for me, I'm a very big horror movie nerd. And I love when like they reference it, but it's not too cheesy or it's not too much. Like you just know. And especially with this movie, like I feel like it was very important to reference other stereotypical, like very not stereotypical, but very like popular and classic horror movies.
Yeah, I don't think so.
At first I thought he was gonna like be really shitty about it and like not tell her, but I'm so glad he didn't. But also like he's supposed to be the nerd or like the nice guy stereotype in horror movies.
The rest of the rooms, make sure this is the only one. So you know Marty wants to watch us pounding away.
I ain't even like hearing that.
Poor Marty, bruh.
Pretty bad.
Well, Jules is pre-med.
Also, I don't know if this is just me being like picky and like
Okay.
bougie, but like I wouldn't want to stay in that cabin for fun. Like just because. Like on vacation. Like I don't know. Maybe it's just, let me shut my mouth. I also applaud this movie for not giving away everything like right as the audience finds out
everyone.
that they're watching
We are
it.
live.
Like I love how we piece it together throughout the film, and even when you're first watching it and like you think you know what's about to happen, you really don't. Like it's so shocking.
It in, or do you want to do it orally?
Ask me that again, only slower.
You're a pig.
I am disgusted.
Pass to the gate. They are come to the killing floor.
Well, you're doing a great job out there. By the numbers, man. You got to start it off just right. So we'll talk to you later, okay?
Their blind eyes see nothing of the horrors to come. Their ears are stopped. They are the gods' fools.
Well, that's how it works.
Cleanse them. Cleanse the world of their ignorance and sin. Bathe them in the crimson of... Am I on speakerphone?
They
Absolutely not.
contrast horror elements and comedy so well. Like this is literally brilliant.
1 second, I'll take you off.
Look at this asshole. This Friday the 13th all the way. Can't tell me otherwise. Very clear and apparent.
In the lake, right
It's
there.
Jason. I'm so in love with Chris Hemsworth. I really am. Me being a Marvel head doesn't work either. I mean, doesn't help either.
You should talk, Aquaman.
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. Okay, all right.
And if you call me a bitch, make sure you put that in front of me. Whack ass my way.
Creepy old fuck. Practically wears a sign, you will die. Why do we put him there? The system. They have to choose to ignore him, and they have to choose what happens in the cellar.
Like I said again in the
as much as we
beginning,
need
I
to, but in
love
the end,
self-aware horror movies.
Serious beast.
That's
clearly a wolf.
I'm living in a womb of reefer. Leave me alone.
I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like the fool and the smart guy can be interchangeable. In some horror movies, not all, but I feel like they can be the same person sometimes. Bro, this whole entire sequence made me throw up. It made me so uncomfortable. It's the fact that that is like, in the movie, probably a real wolf head. And that's its tongue. And that is gross.
Jules. There. What the hell was that?
Evil Dead reference. Literally the exact same scene and I love it. Why did that mask look like the Pretty Little Liars mask? I feel like there was a mask in PLL that looked just like that. Also, I have a really hard time saying Pretty Little Liars. Pretty Little Liars. I can't say it like regularly. Pretty Little Liars.
Guys, I'm not sure it's awesome to be down here.
It's definitely not. See, he could have been the smart, nice guy. I feel like, although I do love Jesse Williams, I feel like there wasn't really a reason for his character to be in there because, like, the four of them represented all of them pretty well. Like, all of the stereotypical people very well. Oh, the seashell.
We should go back upstairs.
Oh, the seashell.
I dare you all to go upstairs.
Me! If I was in that situation, of course, me as like a horror movie lover, I'm like begging them to stay downstairs and like find stuff. But if I was there, I'd definitely be the one saying, I dare you all to go upstairs.
Stopped when Papa cut her belly and stuffed the coals in. Judah told me
that's crazy.
That cutting the flesh makes him have a husband's bulge, and I do not.
I don't like that. Cutting the flesh makes him have a husband's bulge.
Super Vivo Caro.
Now watching this a second time, it makes so much more sense how these characters just changed so heavily into their stereotypes. Like, Kurt was like not at all a dick or like an idiot meathead. Like, he was like smart and like a nice guy, and now he's all of a sudden like a bully or like just, I love it. The Buckners! Hey girl! Oh my god! Now we're getting the party started. Y'all know how I love a fast-paced movie, and here we are.
Buckners, ladies and gentlemen. The Buckners pull the W.
They're like every fucking year. The fucking Buckners.
Gods?
You get used to it.
Should you?
All these questions are so like important, especially in regards to like what Marty was asking in the beginning. Like, he was like, I think it's time for all of us to just give it up and ask ourselves, like, is it time for us to like just leave as a humanity and let like Earth like restart because of how things have been going? And like, we're just pushing for extra time at this point. And like, that's what the guy who was talking to that girl just said. I literally know none of their names, and they don't really specify their names really. I don't know if that's intentional, but
For once.
God, don't even joke. Every other branch is airballed. We need the Japanese.
also I love how each country had to do a horror movie based on like the horror movies of their country. Like, usually like the stereotypical American horror movies, like all these different teenagers, the tropes in a house and something happens, and then they have like the phantom like girl in School Children for Japan. Like, I think that's so cool.
What are you running away for?
I forgot to knock a point off because they were low-key partying. It wasn't like a real party, but like it was like a party. They were still drinking.
I'm chilly.
Okay, guys, that's it. Let's go. We got a job to do. Your basic human needs disgust me. Get out of here.
Disgusting.
We have temperature control in this
Like,
sector.
actually gross. They said, let's make this thriller. The mood light. Oh my god. I can't wait to knock a point off for breaking the rules. Here it comes. Where the Buckners at? Where the Buckners at? Bro, I forget which Buckner that is. Is that Judah? See, like, even though it like is very clearly a comedy as well, it does a great job making these like scary scenes very odd and like scary as well, because those people don't know that they're being watched. Like, they're just being terrorized, and like those things are actually happening to them, so it still makes it like pretty real for them. Off with her head! Let me know if I should watch Alice in Wonderland on here as well. Look how they become so desensitized to it. It also says something about how people are so willing to do anything to like keep themselves safe or like have themselves be fine, that they get so desensitized to other people's like emotions and like struggles. Yet another reason why Marty and that black guy, I think his name Truman, were saying that maybe it is time for us to give it up. Like, we're not good for this planet, or like we haven't been good for a while. When I first watched this, I was so confused. I was like, okay, a blood sacrifice, but like these lines, what is it doing? And then at the end, it was so satisfying. It made complete sense.
I don't wanna. I mean, I've never.
See, and the chemicals are getting into her brain. Like, she's over here talking about, I've never. And like, she clearly has, because of the professor she was talking about in the beginning of the movie. Behind you, man. Behind you. Behind you.
Fucking run!
Fucking sock that bitch in the face! She's gone.
She's gone.
Hey, Dana, don't!
No,
I'm not leaving here without.
Yes, you can. It's literally always the final girl that is trying to be so like saviory and like the good person, and then good job. Now that you have her head, can we go? Bro, the special effects for that were so good though.
This isn't right.
We should split up.
What's the matter?
This isn't right. We should split up. We can cover more ground that way.
Yeah.
Cover more ground for what? I never understood when horror movies did that. Like, we can cover more ground. Cover more ground? We're trying to get out together. 3.
My parents are gonna think I'm such a burnout.
I don't know why I did all this, but like, I was right.
No! No!
He was literally my favorite character too. It was so sad when I first thought he was dead. I'm sorry, but that just looks so satisfying. You cannot tell me that this does not look satisfying. Like the blood going through like the little grains. Like, wow. At this point in the film, I sort of knew she was kind of untouchable because she was the final girl. Like, you can just tell that she's the final girl. Like, she has to be. But like, I don't know. I knew she was kind of untouchable, but like everyone else around her, I was so skeptical of. Grab a weapon and let's go. Grab a weapon and let's go. Yeah, the effects on that is so great because they didn't use CGI for that. That's like an actor, but they used like obviously camera magic to make it look like she was like, she went through the eye. But that's so dope.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Bro, kid haters are so funny. I'm not one of them, but I think kid haters are literally probably one of the funniest people out there because of how they talk to children. Even though I know they're not gonna make it through, like I'm still chanting for them to like run, like pedal to the metal through that fucking cave. Like it's gonna change the second or third time I watch it. Like imagine if they got out and like they were able to tell that story. Like would the government just be able to, well they probably would be able to just clear it up, but that's like crazy.
But I'm coming back here. I'm coming back with cops and choppers and large fucking guns, and those things are gonna pay.
Wow, what a monumental moment. And the gap between what happened to the bird and now is what makes it so much more shocking. Because you forget, you literally forget that that wall is there because of all the other events. At least I forgot. And like I was like, what the fuck? So when they start zooming out a little bit more on what these figures are, it makes a lot more sense.
Something will happen, it'll collapse, wash away.
I don't know if there's something wrong with me for liking this, but like whenever horror movie like characters seem to hit rock bottom and they don't have any hope left, that's what makes it great. Oh my god, Jason T.
God damn.
And again, it just goes to show you how desensitized we are. Like that transition was such like a contrast from like her like literally trying to gasp for air and then like the bottles like coming out of the ice water. Like they're just like sitting back. As long as they're good and as long as they're safe, then other people's struggles and hurts don't matter.
What do you mean upstairs?
This is my first time figuring out that when they say upstairs, the kids were upstairs. Like the teenagers were upstairs. They weren't on the same level. That's crazy. So they're like in the middle. The people working are in the middle. Who said bongs can't save lives? Who said that?
Marty, wait, we're going in the grave?
Yeah. Oh my God, this is like a painful reminder of Texas Chainsaw. If you haven't seen me do that video, please go check that out. It literally pained me.
Somebody sent those dead fucks up here to get us.
This is literally my favorite part in the movie. This was literally when everything started coming together in my mind. Oh my God, that low-key scared me a bit. Also, there wasn't really that much to count in this movie. They only kind of broke 2 rules: having sex and drinking. They did split up though, so maybe 3.
They made us choose how we die.
Yeah, and y'all didn't choose a merman. Very annoying, if you ask me. But like this is literally so cool. Like this is so cool. They had so many things to choose from, so many things. Like there's like tens of thousands of monsters. And I heard that all those like cubes of monsters, they were actually like people dressed up in costumes and like things to make it look like more realistic, and it like was barely like CGI and stuff like that. When you're watching this for the first time, you do not expect for them to end up here. Like this is crazy.
Let's get this party started.
What's about to come up is a horror movie nerd's wet dream. I'm not joking when I say that. I'm not even exaggerating in the least.
Oh, shit.
Dang. Yes, literally every single monster you could think of. Every single monster you could think of. Ugh. And y'all know how I feel about an excess amount of blood. Every single ding, like I love it. And this is so reminiscent of like The Strangers.
Where's the fucking gas? Something through the connections in the utility.
Who has written a horror movie about a unicorn though? This is like, oh my God. And this part, you're so like put in shock, some people are scared and everything. And then it reminds you that it is indeed a horror comedy. This is why I love this movie. A perfect blend. He got what he always wanted.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
5 of them. What are they? Us.
Oh my God, should I do an Us movie commentary? Because I totally would.
The whore. She's corrupted. She dies first.
She's corrupted because she had
athlete.
sex?
Sun is coming up in 8 minutes. If you live to see it, the world will end.
Maybe that's the way it should be.
Lost No Girl to the rescue, period. This last scene with just them two, I feel like is so important to tie this entire movie together.
You were right. Humanity. It's time to give someone else a chance.
So epic. And the music. Well, that rightfully so, is one of my favorite horror movies. Well, I wouldn't say one, I have a lot of favorite horror movies. So like I put it in the horror comedy section. I think this movie is great. I think it's like it gives, the takeaways you get from this movie are just so like, you bring it back home, and that's what's so special about it. And that's one of the reasons why I love horror movies so much, especially like, you know, psychological horror obviously, but even horror movies like this where they like teach you something and they leave you like in thought. They like linger with you throughout like your entire day or even a few days after that. My biggest takeaway from this movie when I first watched it, and even still, like, is how we are as a society. Like, what we are willing to do to keep ourselves safe, but like let others be hurt and tortured and struggle, which is like awful. And that's like literally how society has been going for like decades now. And like for me personally, I believe that we were put on this earth to make connections, to build relationships, to experience this world, and to just grow as humans. And we have taken that opportunity, that great opportunity, and turned it into like a power hungry climb. And this movie does such a great job of like putting that in our faces in such like a horrifying yet like funny way. But yeah, that's enough of me getting like semi deep in here, not me getting intellectual. But I hope you guys like this movie commentary. I'm also in the middle of doing the Harry Potter series, so if you guys want to stick around for that, that'd be cool. I'm also doing a few other series and commentaries. There's just a lot going on my channel, and I hope you guys stick around for that. But that is all. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.